This latest provision is raising concerns it may lead to a wider-reaching laws that include more than just IT spending. I spoke with Stewart Baker, former Secretary Assistant for the Policy of Homeland Security, and I asked him how this new provision will impact U.S. and Chinese businesses.
The U.S. procurement system is very rigid in the requirements and in how it states those requirements. So if something is not explicitly required, it's difficult to do informally. So it's not clear to me that this kind of review would have been conducted informally. But I agree there probably was a way, if the particular agency was concerned about a particular supplier, for them to decide that that supplier was not a safe person to win the award.
Obviously, with this type of action, there's going to be a response from China. I want to read you something from the Chinese Foreign Ministry. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said, quote, "This bill uses internet security as an excuse to take discriminatory steps against Chinese companies."
Well, it certainly discriminates against Chinese companies that are influenced by the government. I'm not sure it's an excuse. I think the Chinese government doesn't realize how much harm has been done by the accusations, the very detailed accusations of hacking by the PLA. That has created a terrible atmosphere in Washington.
Is this a response to the alleged hacking? Or is this a response to some of the security concerns from Chinese companies that we saw late last year? Or a combination of the two?
I think it's a combination, but as I've said to other people, if you're a government official and you come in and your security officer says, you can't use your computer for the next 3 days because we are chasing Chinese government hackers who are in it, that has a direct and personal impact on the decision makers. And so there's been a real change in climate, decision maker by decision maker, as they feel they're under attack.
I want to read you something that you wrote, actually, in your blog. You said that China could claim that the United States would be violating WTO rules.
Yes.
Could you explain?
The WTO has a government procurement code in which each country agrees that it's going to open its procurements to other countries that have made similar promises. China has not made those promises, so China cannot object to U.S. government procurement practices. There is a way this could nonetheless be invoked if Chinese companies that are state-owned enterprises are manufacturing their products in another country that does belong to the code. That other country could object that its products are being excluded from U.S. procurements. So there is a way in which this could turn out to be a WTO case.
What I think a lot of business people are concerned about isn't necessarily just, of course, the security issues, but really about business, a little bit of a tit for tat, right? You say we're doing something wrong, they say we're doing something wrong, and this goes back and forth. They claim the United States might be attacking a sector of Chinese companies. The Chinese could easily do the same thing to United States companies. And they've been accused in some corners of doing that. I mean, this is not something new. Where does this take us over the next couple of years in that relationship?
I think it's bad for the relationship. The accusations are, there's no doubt there'll be bookmark accusations. I don't think that's completely accurate, but it is certainly going to happen. And my fear is that we will see on the U.S. side, if they believe that the hacking has continued, that this very small provision will be expanded. It will cover the rest of government procurement. It will apply to critical infrastructure in the United States, and it will go from being a caution to being from a yellow light to a red light. And then, of course, we'll see similar retaliation in China.